most dangerous moment in any relationship is not betrayal, conflict, or even distance. It's the moment a man realizes you're easy to keep, not easy to love, not easy to understand, easy to keep. That realization doesn't arrive with fireworks. It slips in quietly, like mold behind a wall. By the time you notice it, the structure is already compromised. If you've ever wondered why effort fades right after things feel secure, why consistency turns into laziness, why men who once pursued you like a prize suddenly treat you like a subscription they forgot to cancel, this is why. Men don't relax because they feel safe. They relax because they feel entitled. And entitlement is the silent killer of desire. A man feels you're too easy to keep when your presence becomes predictable, your forgiveness automatic, and your standards negotiable. He doesn't announce this shift. He feels it. Men live in sensations, not speeches. The sensation is this: no matter what I do, she'll still be here. That thought doesn't make him loyal. It makes him careless. Women hate hearing this because they confuse ease with peace. They think being low maintenance makes them lovable. What it actually does is remove tension. And without tension, there is no alertness. Without alertness, men sleepwalk. Sleepwalking men don't protect what they have. They assume it will still be there when they wake up. This is where simps and overgivers collapse the fastest. They believe devotion is attractive. Devotion without resistance is just obedience with better branding. Men don't value obedience. They exploit it or grow bored of it. Sometimes both in the same week. A woman becomes too easy to keep the moment she replaces discernment with accommodation. She starts anticipating his needs before he earns it. She fills silence before it can do its work. She reassures before uncertainty has time to shape behavior. She thinks she's building intimacy. She's actually removing friction. Friction is what makes men grip tighter. This isn't theory. It's observable behavior across cultures, time periods, and power structures. Men guard what challenges them. They neglect what submits early. The men who deny this are lying to look noble, or worse, unaware of their own instincts. The instincts don't care about the story you tell yourself. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Men are not moved by how much you give. They're moved by what they might lose. Loss sharpens perception. Abundance dulls it. A woman who is always available trains a man to feel like access is guaranteed. Guaranteed access breeds complacency. Complacency breeds disrespect dressed up as comfort. This is why men often treat women better early on than later. Early access is uncertain. Later access feels secured. Security without consequence is sedative. You don't become too easy to keep because you're kind. You become too easy to keep because your kindness has no edge. It costs you something, but it costs him nothing. Men measure value by cost, not morality. If a man can show up inconsistently and still receive warmth, intimacy, emotional safety, and loyalty, he doesn't conclude you're loving. He concludes you're manageable. Manageable women are not cherished. They're scheduled. This is why men compartmentalize women they feel they've already won. He'll still like you. He may even love you in his way. But the fire shifts elsewhere. Fire needs oxygen. Oxygen is uncertainty. Women who understand this don't try to be difficult. They simply don't collapse their lives around a man's comfort. A woman who has momentum outside of him introduces natural friction. Her time matters. Her energy has a cost. Her attention is not infinite. Men feel that immediately. When a man feels like he has to keep earning access, His nervous system stays engaged. Engagement creates effort. Effort creates attachment. This is why men get oddly anxious around women who don't chase clarity. Women who don't rush to fix moods. Women who don't overfunction when he underperforms. Those women are not playing games. They're playing reality. Men don't fear losing women who hover. They fear losing women who can walk away without spectacle. Spectacle is emotional dependency. Calm departure is power. Here's where most women sabotage themselves. The moment they sense distance, they overcorrect. They give more, explain more, soften boundaries, increase availability. They think they're stabilizing the connection. They're actually confirming the man's suspicion. I can drift, and she'll compensate. Once that pattern locks in, inconsistency becomes his default setting. A man feels you're too easy to keep when your reactions are predictable, when he already knows you'll forgive, when your anger burns hot but short, when consequences never outlive the conversation. Men don't remember what you say. They remember what happens after. If nothing happens, nothing changes. There's research that backs this, even if people hate the implications. A study published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that individuals who perceived their partners as highly committed and unlikely to leave were more likely to engage in boundary-pushing behaviors and effort reduction over time. Commitment without perceived consequence reduced maintenance behavior. Translation: when people feel secure without accountability, effort drops. Men don't wake up and decide to devalue you. They drift there because the environment allows it. Environment beats intention every time. A woman who is too easy to keep often prides herself on being understanding. Understanding is useful. Over-understanding is self-erasure. Men don't respect women who erase themselves for harmony. Harmony that requires self-betrayal is not harmony. It's submission with a smile. And submission doesn't inspire protection. It invites testing. Men test women they feel slipping into furniture status. They test to see how much they can lean before the structure collapses. If it never collapses, they lean harder. This is why men suddenly improve after a woman emotionally withdraws. Not dramatically. Just enough to reintroduce uncertainty. He didn't need a speech. He needed a shift. Men respond to shifts, not explanations. Now, before someone panics and thinks this is about manipulation, understand this clearly. The women who are hardest to keep are not cold. They are centered. Their lives don't pause for male confusion. Their self-respect doesn't negotiate. Their warmth is present, but it's not unconditional. Men feel when warmth has standards. This is the difference between being loving and being convenient. Convenience is deadly to attraction. If this dynamic feels familiar, and you're tired of guessing when to pull back and when to lean in, this is where I pause and say this plainly. I offer one-on-one coaching, and it's pinned in the comments section. Coaching is for women who want precision, not platitudes. We look at your specific patterns, where you're leaking leverage, and how to correct it without turning cold or chaotic. The benefit of one-on-one work is that you stop overcorrecting. You learn how to let men feel consequence without you having to perform it emotionally. My landing page is done. I'll be adding it to the description and the pinned comment. Go check it out. Read the free PDF. Watch the free video. Subscribe to the newsletter. That's where the deeper material lives. The stuff that doesn't survive the comment section. This is what my weekly newsletter looks like. This is where I sometimes say things that YouTube doesn't let me say. I'll be sending 3 weekly, and make sure to check under promotions or spam folder for my emails. And yes, you can pre-order the course, The Feminine Game. It releases May 30th. It's for women who are tired of being easy to keep and ready to be difficult to replace. Now let's continue, because this goes deeper. Men don't leave women because they're too demanding. They leave, or emotionally check out, because the woman stopped demanding anything at all. A man needs friction to feel alive in a relationship, not chaos. Friction, the kind that reminds him this is a living system, not a finished product. When a woman becomes emotionally predictable, men stop investing curiosity. Curiosity dies when outcomes feel guaranteed. Guaranteed outcomes kill desire. This is why men often become more attentive after a breakup. The woman didn't suddenly become better. The risk returned. Risk resurrects imagination. Imagination fuels longing. You don't need to manufacture risk. You need to stop eliminating it. Women eliminate risk when they over-disclose, over-reassure, over-accommodate, and overstay in situations where standards were violated. Men watch all of this silently. Silence is not ignorance. It's data collection. When a man realizes you won't leave, won't withdraw, won't change your availability, and won't enforce boundaries beyond words, he concludes the relationship is solved. Solved problems are ignored. This is the fatal irony. The more you try to secure the bond, the more you convince him it no longer requires effort. Men keep effort where effort feels necessary. If you're still listening, stay. In the next stretch, I'll explain why being easy to keep has nothing to do with sex or niceness, how men distinguish between emotional safety and emotional captivity, and what actually makes a woman feel irreplaceable without chasing or withholding. Don't go anywhere. A man does not confuse emotional safety with emotional surrender. He knows the difference instinctively, even if he lacks the vocabulary to explain it. Emotional safety means he can exist without constant threat or chaos. Emotional surrender means he can withdraw effort without consequence. The first creates loyalty. The second creates decay. When a woman becomes too easy to keep, she unknowingly offers surrender disguised as love. She gives him the comfort of permanence, without requiring the discipline that permanence demands. Men are not loyal to comfort. They are loyal to meaning. Comfort is replaceable. Meaning is not. Meaning comes from friction, from limits, from the quiet understanding that access is not a birthright, but a privilege that can be revoked. A woman who is difficult to replace is not dramatic, not volatile, not cold. She is precise. Her reactions are proportionate. Her boundaries are clean. Her absence is believable. Believability is everything. Men ignore threats they don't believe. They ignore boundaries they don't feel. They ignore standards that never cost them anything. This is why women who talk endlessly about what they deserve, but never change their behavior, are quietly dismissed. Men hear the speech and watch the pattern. The pattern always wins. A woman becomes too easy to keep when her presence outlasts her standards. She stays after disappointment. She stays after inconsistency. She stays after neglect. And each time she stays, she teaches him something dangerous, that her threshold is theoretical. Men don't need to cross a line dramatically. They erode it slowly. A late reply here, a cancelled plan there, less curiosity, less pursuit, less generosity. And when nothing happens, they conclude the relationship is elastic. Elastic things get stretched. This is where women tell themselves the most seductive lie. He's just comfortable. Comfort is not the problem. Comfort without vigilance is. Men don't maintain what maintains itself. A woman who self-regulates the entire emotional environment becomes invisible. She removes the need for his leadership, his effort, his presence. She becomes the infrastructure, not the prize. Infrastructure is necessary, but no one romanticizes it. The women men obsess over are not endlessly soothing. They are anchored. They don't chase equilibrium. They allow imbalance to speak. Silence does more than speeches ever will. When a man senses he can disturb the emotional field, and you'll rush to restore it, he learns that disruption costs him nothing, so he disrupts more. When disturbance meets calm non-adjustment, his nervous system wakes up. Something didn't go the way it usually does. That's when reflection begins. Men reflect only when patterns break. This is why overcommunication is lethal. Explaining your feelings in real time gives him a map. Maps eliminate mystery. Mystery fuels engagement. A woman who withholds explanation until behavior changes forces introspection. Men grow through introspection, or they leave. Both outcomes are clarifying. And clarity is power. Men do not fall for women who explain themselves well. They fall for women who don't need to. This is where simps panic. They believe love is earned through effort alone. Effort without selectivity is just labor. Men respect labor when it's scarce. Scarcity is not about playing games. It's about having a life that does not revolve around being chosen. A woman who doesn't need to be chosen doesn't cling. She observes. Observation beats pursuit every time. When a man feels you're too easy to keep, it's often because he senses you're more invested in keeping the relationship than in keeping yourself intact. Men can smell that imbalance. They may not articulate it, but they feel it in how quickly you reply, how deeply you excuse, how little space you allow for consequence. Desperation is loud, even when unspoken. Power is quiet. This is why the most dangerous women are not the loud ones. They're the calm ones who don't explain their standards twice. Men test those women once, sometimes twice. Then they adjust. Because adjustment is cheaper than replacement. Men do not want chaos. They want clarity. They want to know the rules of the terrain. When the terrain is soft everywhere, they drive recklessly. When the terrain has edges, they steer carefully. Being too easy to keep means you remove the edges. And once the edges are gone, you can't complain when he stops watching his footing. Now let's be blunt. This has nothing to do with sex frequency, sweetness, or emotional openness. Some of the most easy to keep women are sexually reserved and emotionally deep. Some of the hardest to keep are warm, generous, and affectionate. The difference is enforcement. Warmth without enforcement is hospitality. Hospitality is temporary by nature. People behave poorly in hotels because no one lives there. A woman who lives in herself changes the rules. She doesn't punish. She doesn't threaten. She doesn't lecture. She simply stops providing the benefits of closeness when standards aren't met. That withdrawal is not dramatic. It's subtle. And it terrifies men more than yelling ever could. Because yelling means you're still invested. Calm distance means you're recalculating. Men fear recalculation. They fear being quietly downgraded. This is why men chase women who appear slightly out of reach, even after commitment. Not unreachable. Out of reach. Out of reach means he must keep becoming the man who earned access in the first place. This is why attraction isn't sustained by memory. It's sustained by posture. Posture is how you carry yourself when nothing is being discussed. If your posture collapses into accommodation, men lean back. If your posture remains upright, men lean forward. Simple physics. By now, you should understand this clearly. Men don't lose interest because women change. They lose interest because women stop enforcing the conditions that made interest necessary. If you want to stop being easy to keep, stop offering permanence prematurely. Permanence must be felt, not promised. Let men feel the cost of misalignment without you narrating it. And if you want help doing this without swinging into coldness or chaos, that's exactly what the coaching is for. The link is pinned. One-on-one work is where patterns get corrected instead of repeated. Check the landing page in the description and pinned comment. Read the free PDF. Watch the free video. Subscribe to the newsletter. That's where the unfiltered material goes. This is what my weekly newsletter looks like. This is where I sometimes say things that YouTube doesn't let me say. I'll be sending 3 weekly, and make sure to check under promotions or spam folder for my emails. And if you're serious about mastering this, pre-order The Feminine Game. It releases May 30th. It's not about manipulation. It's about position. If this video resonated, subscribe. You'll want the next ones. And comment below. What's the moment you realized a man started treating you like you were easy to keep? Don't sanitize it. The truth is more useful than dignity theater. Welcome to the dark side of your mind, an armory disguised as advice. Everything here exists to give you clarity sharper than the games being played against you. The reading is where I dissect your situation with precision. What he meant, what he didn't, what you missed. About 1,000 words, plus 1 follow-up question to tighten the strategy. The case file is the full autopsy, a complete psychological breakdown in writing, plus a private audio message so you hear the parts most people avoid. 1 follow-up to lock it in. If you want speed, there's the whisper. 400 words. Direct. Unfiltered. No extra dialogue. If you prefer tone and voice, the weight of the message itself, the transmission gives you a private audio response. No follow-up. No hand-holding. And if your situation is messy enough for multiple angles, buy 2 services, and the third is free. Strategy rewards commitment. If you want the truth delivered publicly, without exposing yourself, there's the public whisper. 1 question, 1 strategic answer, posted for others to learn from. Short, clean, no follow-up. You already know why you're here. You ask your question, and within 72 hours, you get clarity most people never develop. Emotional discipline, psychological leverage, the ability to stop repeating patterns that drain you. The dark side of your mind isn't here to soothe you. It's here to change how you move.